Hi, I'm Jeff Swenson. I'm the athletic director at Augsburg College, and I was the former head wrestling coach at Augsburg for 25 years. In that time, we were fortunate enough to win 10 national championships, and probably the thing that I'm most proud of is for 19 straight years, we had a top 4 finish at the national tournament, which is a record that still stands. Our session today is high crotch setups and finishes. My partner in all of these videos is Nick Slack. Nick is a 3-time All-American and a national champion at Augsburg, also on the Augsburg coaching staff with me for 5 years, and is going to be a coach this coming year, so he'll be in his 6th year as an assistant coach. The other gentleman that's going to help when we do some of our techniques is Jared Evans. Jared is a 3-time All-American from Augsburg and currently our head assistant wrestling coach. The High Crotch Setup and Finish series is the first series that we introduce at Augsburg. We feel that the High Crotch series is the most difficult series to teach, no matter what level you're at, whether you're at the elementary, junior high, high school, or college level. We like to attack the most difficult techniques first, so we chose many years ago to deal with our High Crotch Setup and Finish series first. Of course, we go over stance first, and I'll briefly touch on that, but we're always, the key words that we use for stance are head up, butt down, elbows in, knees bent. We like to keep a staggered stance, which means that I want to have a stance that I can attack from. Our high crotch series is going to be an inside step series, not an outside step high crotch series. And what I mean by that, I'll be always stepping with my lead foot, and I'll be stepping inside my opponent's leg. When you see me with a partner, I'll show you that. But again, head up, butt down, elbows in, knees bent, and I always like to keep my lead leg, my lead arm covering my lead leg. So if my opponent does take a shot at my lead arm, I always have my lead arm where I can down block, move my leg back, and be in good position. I never reach with my lead arm. As I show you this high crotch series, you'll never see me go like this. Okay, if I'm going to reach, I reach with my scout hand here. Okay, again, head up, butt down, elbows in, knees bent. And we do a lot of drills where we're in here and we'll constantly say head up, butt down, elbows in, knees bent. Head up, butt down, elbows in, knees bent. And that's really how we begin our teaching series when we start our very first practice. The next thing we do is, and we require all of our wrestlers to memorize our philosophy on the feet. Our philosophy on the feet is always be on the attack. Number 1, always be on the attack. Number 2, attack low. We feel the way to be successful is to attack the legs. So our second part of our philosophy is to attack low. Third part of our philosophy is to be able to attack both sides. And that's where our high crotch comes in. Typically, our 2 low-level attacks will be a high crotch, and the other one is generally a single leg. I think a single leg is much easier to teach. It's much easier to master, and that's why we do our high crotch series first. Our fourth part of that is attack the head. And we actually go a little bit further, and we talk about attack the head hard, quick, and intelligently. Because what we don't want to do is we don't want guys grabbing our opponent's head and hanging on it. We don't want guys reaching too far. You got to be smart when you attack the head. Otherwise, your opponent's going to use that to attack you. And the last thing is more of a philosophy of overall philosophy. We feel like we're going to outcondition our opponent, so we attack until we wear our opponent down. So 1, always be on the attack. 2, attack low. 3, attack both sides. 4, attack the head hard, quick, and intelligently. And 5, attack until you wear your opponent down. And that's kind of the foundation for how we start. I went over our stance, and if I could ask Nick to come in. Next thing I'm going to do is start going over exactly how we teach our high crotch series. The first thing we do is everything is predicated on being close enough. I think of a lot of the wrestlers, whether at any level, typically try to take shots from too far back. Our philosophy, whether it be a high crotch or a single, is going to be to get forehead to forehead. So we always want to be, now we feel like we're close enough to attack. Okay? Again, I want to be in a staggered stance, which means I'm going to stagger 1 foot forward, 1 foot back. I'm going to drive off of this foot. I'm going to step with this foot. My high crotch is, we can do it, and I'm going to show some different setups, but the first setup that we generally show is based on what our opponent does. And our opponent is, we always call our opponent Wrestler B. Typically, it's stance. Okay, now I'm not close enough, so then I have to stalk. And now I drive a little bit with good head position, and typically, and we'll use the phrase, Wrestler B will reach. They can't help themselves. They will try to touch you, but don't touch them first. So stance, stalk, head position, now he comes up and he reaches. Now this is where I want to make contact, and I want to bind my opponent to me, right here. Okay, and this is my inside hook. I'm going to do a lot of things off that inside hook. I want an inside hook, and I'm not up by the armpit. That's a fish hook. An inside hook is where my pinky is very, very close to his elbow, just like this. And now I bind him to me by pulling him, having a short arm, and then I'll use the head against his, in the nape of his neck, in between his shoulder and his ear, just like this. And then I'll drive a little bit here. And I want to keep this hand free as I go. So again, stance, stalk. Stance, stalk, head position. Wrestler B will reach. I'll come in with an inside hook, and I'll drive a little bit. Stance, stalk, head position. He reaches. Now I'll come in here, and I bind him to me, just like this. Okay? I want to be in good position still. Okay? Head up, butt down, elbows in. I never want to be out here because he'll dig an underhook on me. Elbows in, so I keep my elbows in, and knees bent, because knee bent allows me to take my penetration step. So we'll do little drills back and forth, and I'll have Jared come in and help me with these. But we'll go stance, so Jared will stance, stalk, he'll reach, head position, and now Jared will get in good head position here. He'll drive a little bit, and then we'll go back. Good. Now the other guy will go. Wrestler, stance, stalk, Jared will reach, Nick binds, comes back. Good. Back again. Stance, stalk, head position, inside hook. Be sure your pinky is close to the elbow. One more time. Stance, stalk. Notice how they change feet, how the inside footstep is always going to be forward. Go ahead. Good. Now the next thing we're going to go over is how are we going to penetrate from here. And the penetration step that we're going to use is we call it a drop and drive. We use the example. It's an elevator. It goes straight down. It's not an escalator. If you take a shot like an escalator, what happens is you telegraph to your opponent. So even if I did everything right, stance, stalk, head position, he reaches, I come in here. If I take my shot like this, I telegraph myself and he comes back. Okay? What I want to do is lower, I want to drop and then drive. So stance, stalk, head position, I bind myself to my opponent, and now what I want to do is I want to just come here. Okay, now I'm going to take my shot here, pull it over, and be just like this. And I'll do it from this side. This is a real, if you don't bind correctly, if you don't keep that inside hook, you lose this arm. And what I want to do here, and this is a real key part to this motion, I want to drop and drive and penetrate at the same time that I bring that inside hook over my head. and I kind of just throw it over my head and get rid of it. I do not hold on to it. In fact, at the very end, what I'll do is I'll come here, and then I'll just slap myself in my far back pocket. So I'll come all the way through, and what that eliminates is, here, if I don't do that, he might underhook here, okay? But if I do that, he can't underhook because he has nothing to underhook, okay? And I want to be right in here. I don't want to minimize how important dropping and driving and penetrating is. We're pulling our opponent over us as we penetrate into our opponent. Stand stock head position, he reaches. Again, here's my inside hook. My pinky is very close to his elbow here. Okay, now what I'm going to do is I'm going to drop, drive, and now inside step. Now I pull this here, just like this. But where I want to end up here, in this angle, is I want to be looking straight ahead. I want my hips in. I want this knee down, very close to his leg here. I want this foot up, ready to drive. This foot has to be up, ready to drive. And one of my key components to this is snaking. It depends on what wrestling coach you talk to. A lot of wrestling coaches like to come up here and try to control the opponent's hips, try to control their core muscle group area here. I'm afraid to do that with this arm. I don't think my arm has the strength or the capabilities to do that. A lot of people that are really good can come in here and lift and be okay. But what we want to do, we snake low to prevent this sprawl. So when I come in, stand stock head position, I'll come right in here. Now I'm going to drop, take my shot, drive here. Now right here, I want to make sure my hips are in. I should always feel his knee with my hips. Now I'm going to come from my snake. My snake is right in front of his shin. And then I'll do what we call crash wrists. So I have the snake and I've captured him. If Nick were to sprawl right now, he'll just sprawl over me. Okay, I'm in pretty good shape here. Whereas if I was here and he sprawled, I'm going to get out of position. So I want to make sure our philosophy at Augsburg has always been to snake low, but we're still going to move quick. So I drop and drive, come here, I'll go slow here, I'm in good position here. Now I crash wrists, and I'm ready for my finish. I crash my wrist right here, and I'm ready for my finish. That gets us to finish position. However, a lot of things go into not making a lot of mistakes before you get to finish position. When we go into our stand stock head position, contact and control and bind our opponent to us, our inside hook, things that get in the way are an opponent that ties up my attack hand. So what we do here is if Nick tries to tie up, and I call my attack hand the hand that I'm going to attack his leg with. So stand stock, head position, bind here. But if he grabs here, I have to have an answer to this because now he's stopped me. If I take a shot here, he's stopped. So we thumb down this. Down just like that. Quick, not too far. If I come here, of course, I'm going to open up my own leg. So we just thumb down. The other thing that will prevent us from getting a good high crotch shot is if he gets an underhook in. So I'll be here, stand stock, and if my elbows are out, now he's stopped my high crotch. Okay, so I'll show you some drills that we do to prevent him from tying up our attack hand, from him getting an underhook. And the last thing is some guys like to pound the head like we do, and they may try to snap us down here as I'm in my inside hook position, so we have to remain in good position. We don't just tell our wrestlers, as I just did now, this is what we have to prevent, and then go on to our finishes. Every single day, what we'll do, and I'll have Jared come in. Every single day, once we put in our stances and our stance stock contact and control piece, every single day we do what we call drive across mat drills. The first one we do is the opponent will try to tie up our attack hand. Jared will bind Nick to him, drive across the mat. Nick will tie up the attack hand, and then Jared Okay, and then we do a line drill back, same thing. Nick will do this, other side, Nick, so the camera can see. Yep, there you go. Jared will tie up the attack hand. Nick will thumb down. Good. On the way back, we'll stop underhooks. So Jared will get in the position of the attacker. Nick will try to tie up, and Jared will work on keeping his elbow to his side. And on the way back, Nick will do the same thing, trying to stop Jared's underhooks. Jared will try to dig underhooks. We give a little bit of good. And then, once we get really good, we'll go back and we'll try to defend all three. So Nick will have the opportunity to try to tie up the attack hand, dig an underhook, or do a snap down. Jared's got to now try to defend anything Nick comes up with. We do these drills to teach our guys good position so they know how to get out of those bad positions so they don't get into it in competition. There's Jared's being a good partner. Good. Another drill we do when we concentrate on penetrating is we'll do Wyganski's. We named that after a wrestler that wrestled at Augsburg, and he perfected the high crotch. And ever since he did that, I remember after practices, he would go up and down the wrestling mats, several times, just working on his high crotch. And as he did his high crotch, he didn't have to have a partner for it. He just concentrated on his penetration and his upper arm movements. And what I mean when I say upper arm movements, I think it's real critical when you're in a good position here is that I don't want to just come straight on like this with square shoulders when I attack my opponent. When I come in, I want to be tough to defend. The wider I am, no different than if someone was going to tackle me in football, the wider that I am, the easier it is to defend me. So what I want to do with my high crotch in here is I want to come like this. Okay, and now what I am is I'm almost sideways when I take my shot. Okay, so I'm inside hook here, and I'll come here. And what that looks like from the side, is here. So I come this way a little bit, even though I'll probably be facing this way. From the back side, it's here. So I work on this motion, just like this, as I work on my inside hook, or it could be a straight elbow pull when we get that far with our high crotch. As we practice high crotches alone, I'll have you guys go in the line. One of you go first. So Nick will work his high crotches, or like I said, his Wyganski's. Some guys go all to their favorite side. Sometimes it will go to different sides. Go ahead, Jared. Jared's going right, left with his high crotches. One more time. And generally, once he's gone twice, we'll have the next guy go. Just constantly working on elbow pulls, penetration as we go. Now, that's okay if you don't have a partner. I still think having a partner in front of you is a little bit better. So we call these partner resistance drills. So one guy will hit his high crotches and the other guy will retreat as he goes. Keep retreating. Good. Concentrate on getting your hips in. Good. And on the way back, Jared can go. And Nick will be retreating as he goes. So you see Nick is coming out here. He just has his hands out here. But it's a good drill. Just keep concentrating on your attacks. Never stop attacking. So if you get stopped once, you go again, and you go again. We'll do our partner retreat drill again. Nick's taking his shot. Jared's retreating. We just usually do this off of a elbow pop. Just getting used to taking our shot and getting our hips in. The real objective is to perfect your high crotch. We'll go on the other way back. See how Jared's getting his hips in? You'll see every time their hips hit each other's knees. And their heads to the side, and that's a real key Head has to be to the side because we're going to get into our finishes next. As we get into some another drill we do, and we can do this one stationary, we don't have to do it in lines, is just what we call a post or a pop drill, where one guy will reach and the other guy will take a high crotch. So Nick, or Jared, there you go. Okay. Good, and then go the other way. Now you go, Jared. So he just pops the high crotch up, just concentrating on good penetration step. Make sure we're dropping and driving. You'll see Jared's head each time goes down first and then in, so he's much more difficult to defend. Good job, guys. Next thing we do, we'll start incorporating. We try to keep it real simple. We generally will stay, as we're going through our teaching sequence, we'll generally stay with an inside hook to begin with, because I still feel like an inside hook, is the most difficult maneuver to set up the high crotch with. It may seem awkward, or it may seem confusing that we would start with the inside hook first, but we feel like there's so many other easy sets. We just showed you one, as your opponent reaches to hit a pop. What we're really trying to set up with that inside hook is for our opponent to come inside. So I'll come in here, and I'll have good stance, head up, butt down, elbows in, knees bent. I'll come in here, he reaches, I'll come in here. But a lot of times, what they'll try to do is get inside position on me. That's really what I want, because if he takes inside position here, I think the easiest setup in the world to a high crotch is a simple elbow pull. But I'm not assuming that he's always going to give me that. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to perfect the most difficult maneuver first, which I think is the inside hook set up to the high crotch. As we do that, so everything we do as we get into our first finish is going to be predicated with that inside hook still. I'm going to have these guys demonstrate our first two finishes. Our first two finishes are in our primary finish, whenever we get a chance, is going to be inside hook set up, high crotch to a low driving double is how we describe this. So we use an inside hook setup. Who's going? Okay, Jared's going to go. And now he'll come in here in great position. Don't go through the whole finish yet, okay? But just get yourself in a position to do the low driving double. Okay, and right here, okay? Right here is where we want to be, okay? Just like this. We want Nick to be draped, our opponent to be draped over us. We want to be in, we want to be looking straight ahead, and we want to be using our head here, because we're going to use our head to force Nick to put all of his weight on his far leg. Okay, let's do it the other side. So face this way on me, Jared. Again, stand stock, head position, SOB reaches. We bind him to us with an inside hook. Now he comes and takes that shot right in here. Again, back pocket. Real good here. He's got the snake, and now he's got heavy pressure coming this way. Heavy pressure going across Nick this way. All of Nick's weight's here. In fact, I bet you I can almost lift this up with my toe here. He's got because of Jared's pressure coming at 90 degrees here. Okay, again, this isn't an easy thing to master. So what we'll do initially is we'll do what we call partner head pressure drills, where Nick's back will be to the camera. Jared will just come in on his shot. Okay, go ahead. And now what we'll do, we'll have Jared take this away, and all we want Jared to do is to drive Nick at 90 degrees to me. Okay, and so now he gets his footwork down. Okay? Now we'll go the other way. So Jared's head will be here. Here. Again, now he takes his hands away, just works on the head pressure. Just works on the head pressure. He's got to stay low. He can't straighten up. Nick will demonstrate that as well. Come in, let go of the leg, and now just worry about driving to me. See Nick's short stoppy steps? Perfect. He'll go the other way, which isn't his strength, but we try to get our guys to try to hit high crotches both ways. And now, actually, Nick has his hands behind his back. That's sometimes how we do this drill. And then Nick will just drive across, short, choppy steps. He gets used to bringing Jared that way. Now The next thing we do is because those short choppy steps are difficult to maneuver, we'll do what's called a Penn State drill. Okay, so we'll have right knees down, facing the camera. I learned this from John Fritz when he was the head coach at Penn State. Right knee down, left knee up, leaning that way, like we're leaning on our opponent. Now we're going to do a Penn State drill where they're going to take their right foot and actually get it up off the drive, and then take short, choppy steps like they're going to hit a low double. Ready? Okay, one more time. And some of you watching this video may think this looks a little corny, but it helps us get our footwork down. Ready? Okay, and again we would go the other side with it. Now when we put the whole maneuver together, and I'll do it this way with Nick's back to the camera, so Jared will initiate the move. Jared will hit his high crotch, and now when he hits his low driving double, here's the key. The key is he's going to come across low, no lower than the knee when he hits this with Nick, and he's going to drive hard. All of Nick's weight's going to be here. Jared's head pressure is going to be coming this way. Nick has a lot of fight in him until we bring him at a 90-degree angle. And now he only has this leg, all the weight's on this leg. Jared comes across from the crash wrist position. Jared comes across to the far lower knee, and as he comes across, he's going to take the leg that has all the weight on it away from Nick, and here's the finish. Okay, and you see how Jared finishes? Head up. He's still lifting the legs here, and great finish, and he's on his toes as well. Beautiful finish. What we'll do in a practice is we'll say, inside stance, stock, head position, inside hook to a low driving double. This is what it looks like, except I'm going to ask you to do it as slow as you can. Stance, stock, head position, your opponent will reach. Inside hook to a high crotch, low driving double. Nice and easy. Good. That's hard to do. That was a lot harder to do than the maneuver that Jared did, because Jared did it faster. We're going to get there, but one of the things that we really emphasize in all of the techniques that we do is to start off slow. We have all year long. Last year we had 132 practices. Or actually 132 days. We had about 70 practices. We got all year long to get the speed down. But if you start the technique off wrong, you have to come back and correct it sometimes during the year. So we want to be sure that we do the technique properly the first time. One more time, we can go with a little more speed. Inside hook to a high crotch, low driving double finish. Lift it up, and we always lift legs at the end. Always lift legs at the end. You see these guys nowadays, they're so gymnastics, they're so athletic. You need to make sure you take all their defenses away. When we lift the legs at the end, that's what that does. Jared, one more time to Nick. Just on your favorite side. Stance, stock, head position. Inside hook when he reaches. High crotch to low driving double finish. Real nice. Good job, guys. So this is a stance, stock, head position. Our opponent B will reach. High crotch to low driving double finish. Stance, stock, head position, high crotch, low driving double finish. Stop. Right there. If you notice, this is a key maneuver to this, where Jared automatically, once he got in, he did what we call a windshield wiper. Okay? A windshield wiper, where he moved his feet. Go ahead. Moved his feet this way, because that's the way he's going to take his opponent, straight at a 90. So he moved his feet this way so he could drive Nick this way. Go ahead. Good. A real key, and I think one that hurts a lot of, especially if they don't learn it at the youth level, junior high, high school level. We even have at the college level guys that struggle with finishing their high crotches because they can't get themselves in a position. If you're going to run a race, and I'm going to run as fast as I can this way, I want to be faced this way. I don't want to start the race here. I want to start the race here. And that's what Jared does with that little windshield wiper maneuver. Right there. Now go. Very nice. Stance, stock, Head position, good drop and drive. Gets in there, right there, that maneuver right there. That windshield wiper where he comes this way. That way, he's faced and he's ready to run. He's ready to run with it, okay? One more time. This time, watch it, but I'm going to have him go pretty much at full speed. Very nice. Legs up on the finish. Real good. 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 So the next thing we do is we have the guy kind of stand off a little bit, and now what we're forced to do, we can't get across to the low driving double, so what we're going to do now is an adjust, we call it, lift and dump finish. And what that looks like here is I'm going to come in, he's going to reach, I'm going to bind him to me, I'm going to drop and drive here, come just like this. Now he comes in here, and I feel like he's really giving me some pressure here. All I do here from the cross wrist position is I make sure that I stay underneath him, and I adjust, lift, and dump. And I'll keep this high leg here as I bring this leg through if I can. So it's my adjust, lift, and dump finish. Again, I'll do it the back side. So I'm in here, I'll come in here, I'll drop and drive. I come with my step here, and now right in here, he's fighting me a little bit. He's probably leaning over me right here, like maybe trying to pick up a lace over to the side of me, so he makes it real easy. Now here, I have a couple different options. One is just to come here, lift and finish. The other, and this is the one I like the most, the other is when I come this way, I like to pick up this, bring this arm through, lift here, because now I'm in an inside Turk position where I can bring him right to his back. The last adjustment that we do when he gives us different looks is when I come in here and I bind him to me, hit this. Now when I come in here, now many times they might try to cross face or hip into me. And what I do if this leg is close is I come with an outside spike and I come down. We call it our airplane finish, where I come off here. Both hands are like this. I don't wrap, because if I wrap on my spike with an airplane finish on my way down, if I get a guy that likes to roll around a little bit, he has a chance of me going one way or another. So again, when I come in, I'm here. He may try a cross face in here, but if this is close, I outside spike, come down with my hands apart. My hips are in, I spike his outside leg, and that way I'm able to use my hips and the trip to bring him down. I feel like I'm in real good position there. Again, just right in here, just like this on my finish. I had mentioned we want to go inside hook, but we mainly want to start off with the inside hook because of its difficulty. It's like in gymnastics or in diving, and when you're looking at divers in a swimming pool, they have a degree of difficulty. We always teach the highest degree of difficulty first, and then go to the easy stuff. As Nick goes here, stance stock head position, Jared will reach with his other side. Right here. Now what we want, what Nick's doing is binding. What Jared will typically do here is fight inside. He'll try to fight inside, and when he fights inside, now what we have is an elbow pull. We call this an inside hook, but we call this an elbow pull setup to a high crotch as your opponent comes inside. Go ahead, Nick. And this is a real easy, the elbow pull, you can just about talk to any wrestler or any coach. They would rather have an elbow pull setup than an inside hook setup. We're forcing them to go there because we go to inside hook first. Okay, again, inside hook. Jared comes inside. We do an elbow pull. Good, good. So we'll use that setup. We'll also do an inside hook with a head pound. So if Jared doesn't come inside, we'll go stand stock, head position, Jared reaches. Okay, we're in here. No, you don't even have to go there. Stay inside hook. But now what Nick will do to hit his high crotch is he'll pound on the top of the head, but quick. Did you see that? He doesn't hang on the head with his inside hook. He pounds and goes. He almost pounds with the attack hand and then goes straight into the maneuver. Stance, stock, head position. Wrestler B reaches, inside hook, right in there. So we got a head pound. We like the different finishes. I'm not going to go to the high crotch to single yet, because that's just one way that we get into a single leg, and we have a different tape that addresses that. But one of the things that happens, this is great if the opponent stays on his feet. What happens if, and we always teach it's a crackdown maneuver where the opponent comes to the mat. Some wrestlers love to wrestle when they're on the feet. They prefer to be down on the mat, either fighting a single on the mat or fighting a high crotch on the mat. When we get down into the high crotch on the mat, we call that a crackdown finish. We have about 4 different finishes we use off of the crackdowns in order to finish those takedowns. We instruct our guys to always make your opponent take you there. Never go there. Never try to bring your opponent to the mat to finish, because it is a little more difficult. Make sure your opponent takes you there. And it looks like this. So Nick's going to hit his shot. Inside hook, he'll come here. And now what Jared's one of those guys that likes to scoot and get down on the mat. So Jared's going to bring himself to the mat and try to scoot around Nick, and we end up just like this. Okay? And we call this a crackdown position. I'm going to move these guys a little bit closer to you here. Okay, now Nick is in a crackdown position right here. The real key for Nick is to keep his shoulder inside. He has to keep his shoulder inside Jared's 2 legs. Okay, you notice his hand here. Nick is snaking low. He's still snaking low. Okay, and what he's going to do here, and he keeps his hips down, because if he brought his hips up, what Jared's going to do, he has a stomach to grab, or he could even grab in between Nick's crotch there, try to get in here and scoot him through. Okay, so you got to keep your hips low. You got to drag your hips on the mat. So when Jared brings us there, we got a crackdown finish here, where Nick's going to do what we call a scoop and quad load, where Nick scoops this leg to bring it out, then he loads it on his quad here. Okay, puts all of Jared's weight heavy on the backside of his butt here. Now Nick is just going to elevate a little bit here and try to get this backhand through. Good. So again, wrestler B is going to take us here, scoop and quad load. Good. Right in through here. Now the whole key is, a lot of guys like to try to block, but Jared was here, so Nick was able to get his hand through. Right when Nick gets his hand through here, it's 2 points. As soon as he has control and the defensive wrestler cannot make any more defensive moves or cannot improve his position, it's 2 points. Okay, same, we'll go again. Another crackdown finish, so Nick hits his shot. Jared comes down to this position. Now, let's slide all the way around. So, right there. Okay, now, really what keeps Nick from getting his 2 points on his takedown is that his head is deep and this far arm is not through. What we're going to do here, what Nick's going to do here, is Nick is going to take his hand and keeping his hips low, he's going to drive his body back while keeping Jared's where it is, and he's going to put his own head right in Jared's hip area or in his lower belly, just like that. Okay, and it does 2 things. Number 1, it loosens Nick up to get this other hand through. So go ahead and push back again, Nick. So we just call this a pushback double. And then he'll come across and finish, and he does a little circle. Let's do it from another angle. So again, crackdown finish number 2. Comes here. Okay, right here he's going to push himself back to put his head inside. The whole key is he puts his head inside. Now it's easy for him to finish. Now he adjusts low on this leg, and he comes around low here and circles to get his points. So we have our scoop and quad load. We have our push back. Okay, we have our push back double off the crackdown. And the third maneuver that we'll have is what we call a duck under from the crackdown position. Nick hits this. Again, Jared brings himself there. Now Nick is going to do a little bit of the same. He's going to still push back, but this time Jared's blocking. He's keeping a little tight. Nick's head is where it's supposed to be, but he's still unable to get the finish. And this is still not 2 points because the referee doesn't see that Nick's hand here has came across yet. And all Nick's going to do is Nick is going to duck under that near knee and roll over the far leg and come back up. We've really had good success with this maneuver. Crackdown finish number 3 is a push back to a duck under, to a leg duck under. Push back again. Hold on to the leg tight. Real important to hold on to the leg tight. Then come with a cross ankle. Do it one more time from one last angle. Good. Jared brings himself there, so he's scooting. Nick pushes back. Now he ducks his head under. Right here, see how tight he's staying here? And he keeps rolling through, and now he comes across to the far leg. That's crackdown finish number 3. Crackdown finish number 4, we're going to do a jump across. And this is an interesting maneuver because we'll actually let go of the one leg and pick up the other on our jump across. And we do what's called a jump across, hook and thread. And I'm going to make sure that you guys see this from about 3 different angles so you pick this up. This is probably, scoop and quad load is close, but we don't get that against a lot of good guys. This is probably the finish that we get on the most experienced guys, or in our real tough matchups. We can still get this when we're in a crackdown position. Go ahead, Nick. So he hits his high crotch. Jared brings him there. Now what Nick's going to do from here is he's going to capture the leg, but now he's going to jump across. He's going to capture here, jump across here. Now we call this. Now he can take the points here if that's how Jared fought him. Not many times is Jared, especially Jared, going to go to his back like that and give it up. So this time I'm going to ask Jared to fight it a little bit more as Nick goes. Okay, so he brings himself there. Okay, Nick captures with the snake. Stop. Now what he's doing here is he comes over with a backhand. It doesn't matter if he grabs the foot here or here, but what he's doing is he's stopping Jared from moving this leg any further this way so he can jump over it, just like that. And then he changes. Then he lets go of this leg, elevates this leg. Now he has some options. This is why we call it a hook and a thread through. That's generally how we finish it. We keep the leg elevated high, and we hook and thread through. Yep. We'll try it 2 more times, actually. Great maneuver. It's not as difficult as it looks. So Nick has the snake on the high crotch. Jared is scooting. His head's still out. Okay. Now he has the snake here. He reverse grabs the foot either here, or he can just come up on the front of the shin. Okay, comes over it, lets go of this leg, keeps this leg. The whole key is if he doesn't keep this leg elevated, Jared will scoot. Okay, see how Jared scoots there? So as soon as he changes off, he's got to elevate this. Now scoot. Jared can't scoot. When Nick finds like he's in good position, he hooks it. Now he threads this leg through. Now he'll just hip down and keep the leg if he wants, and comes right into an inside-out Turk. Okay, we're going to do one more time with some real good resistance from Jared. So he comes in, Jared goes to the crackdown. Okay, now these guys are roommates, so they're going to fight it here. Now what Jared does here, Jared's locking hands. Okay, so what Nick's going to first do here is he's going to hook. Keep it high and hook. Now once he's hooked there, now he can pick these hands with both of his hands, and then he hips down for the 2. And probably, if Jared fought it that long, probably more, because we come right into an inside-out Turk. Our high crotch is designed, if you remember, if we go back to our philosophy on the feet, always be on the attack low, attack both sides. I'll stop there. But our inside hook allows us to do a couple things. Our inside hook also allows us not only to come high crotch, But if I'm looking for a high crotch and that leg goes back, now what my inside hook allows me to do is right here come into my single leg here, okay? Where I'm going to come up into my single leg series. That's going to be, this inside hook is one of the setups that we use to go into our single leg series. Another thing that happens many times when I'm hitting my high crotch here is my head comes through. Okay, I'm driving so hard that my head comes through, and when my head comes through here, I come into a single as well. I haven't went over, and that's what we call our high crotch to single. It's just a setup. It's merely a setup. We don't try to do a high crotch to a single. It's a little more difficult to do high crotches to singles. But when I come in here like this, when I come in, I'm actually right here into my single if I don't get my low driving double or don't go into a double finish. Off of that inside hook, the things that we like to do, in summary, off of our inside hook, we like to head pound. Okay, we also, as he comes inside, we like to elbow pull as he comes inside. I like to hit my high crotch off of a post when he reaches. Three other things I do off the inside hook that set my opponent up for an attack. Okay, I'm here, but I also, if he tries to square with me a little bit, I do a shoulder push and then hit my inside hook. Or I'll do an elbow push and hit my inside hook. You know, sometimes we talked about our opponent trying to grab our wrist. You know, sometimes I'll grab his wrist. This is 4 fingers outside, okay? I'll be out here. I'll be wrestling with Nick. I got 4 fingers outside. I'll let it go into my high crotch. Or a different maneuver, but it feels a lot different to my opponent, is stand stock head position inside hook is 4 fingers inside. I come here and hit my inside hook. So that's a few different few different setups that I use. Inside hook, head pound. Inside hook, shoulder push, take my shot. Elbow push, take my shot. 4 fingers outside, take my shot. 4 fingers inside, take my shot. Or inside hook, and as my opponent comes inside, I hit my elbow pull setup. Gives us a lot of opportunities to attack our opponent's legs, and also it allows us to go to the other side with the inside hook to the far side single, so it accomplishes our philosophy of being able to attack both sides as well as staying on the attack and attacking low. Good stance, head up, butt down, elbows in, knees bent. Now we go forehead to forehead. He reaches. We go inside hook, get good head position. One of the things I want to be sure, and this is a real key, is this opponent's leg has to be forward. Because if it's not forward and it's back, I'm going to take my single here instead. Okay? So as you're having your youth, junior high, high school, college wrestlers drill, one of the things that doesn't work when we're trying to drill and master the high crotch is to try to drill this and then have our opponent have the leg that I'm attacking back. We would never have our guys do that because we could get in a lot of trouble there. If this leg was back and I took a shot, he's just going to spin on me. So, like I said, I attack whatever leg's forward. Now, one of the things I could do, you know, if I wanted that leg forward and I wanted to go high crotch, is certainly just circle before I take my shot. But we want to make sure when we're drilling that we always keep the high crotch leg that we're attacking. Make sure wrestler B always has that leg forward. The question is, the question from the audience was, you know, what happens if you're in that high crotch position, ready to go to the low driving double, and the guy tries to block your elbow? You know, which way do you go there if you don't want to necessarily force him into a crackdown because, you know, maybe that's what he's after to begin with. One of the things, if you drive properly, I don't think that he can keep his elbow there. I don't think he can keep blocking because he's going to be on his way down. And you have to feel that, and I would say you don't come across until you feel that the pressure comes off of your elbow. And it looks like this. We'll do it from the back side so you can see right here. Okay, now Jared is blocking the elbow here, right here. You can see it through Jared's legs. Nick is still going to drive. He's going to go into his windshield washer. Now he's going to run, but there'll become a time where Jared can't hold on. Jared couldn't keep blocking it. We'll show it from the other way. So right here, this is what I'm talking about. Jared right now is blocking, but as Nick comes and he starts driving this thing, Jared's going to lose it. He's just unable to keep up with Nick's elbow as Nick drives across. So that's how we defend that. The high crotch setup series and finish series that we just showed you is a series that we start our season with. We typically, it takes us almost 4 weeks to entirely install. It needs constant repetition, but we feel with our philosophy, as I mentioned before, of attacking low and attacking both sides, it's usually one of our low-level attacks and has made us the program that we are. I hope our session today has been informative, and I hope that you can take some things that you learned today from our session and bring it to your program and your student athletes.